Beyond all sciences, philosophies, theologies, and histories, a child's relentless inquiry is truly all it takes to remind us that we don't know as much as we think we know. Listen now.
Hey, you're listening to Mystic Dummies. This is your host, Jennifer.
And this is Siona.
This podcast is where we bring our life experiences, have conversations, and shine a light upon everyday mysteries.
From mysteries of this world to the mysteries of ourselves, we talk about it all.
If you're looking for a sign, this is it. Tune in to Mystic Dummies every week right here.
Much of life boils down to simple truths about having complex ramifications, as simplicity can be deceptively complex. One such truth is that life is like language. Every word has meaning. Some are defined by dictionaries, others only in life itself. But the truth is not self-evident. All words were not created equal.
The thing we expect the most to happen is the last thing to happen. Has this ever occurred to you? I can vouch and say it has. And Siona, has it ever occurred to you?
Absolutely. That's the only thing constant in my life. Things always taking a turn, and that's what I expect. It's fun, but sometimes it does annoy me. But it is what it is.
Yeah, yes. The more we try to control our life and try to force it, the more it's going to run in different directions. You can maybe imagine life as slime. The more you try to squeeze it, it comes out of the spaces between your fingers. You can't mold it and hold it firmly.
Are you sure we're still talking about slime? but but jokes apart, she's right. Life can be like slime. The more we control what we cannot, we cause pain to ourselves. Sometimes all we need to do is let go, sit back, and enjoy life.
You might have heard this quote: control what is in your power and leave the rest. What do you think it means? What I can interpret is that we have the capability to control what is in our hands, to study for the exam, to learn the instrument, to work hard at your job. But you can't control the examiner who's going to score you. You can't control the results of your music exam. And you definitely can't control your boss to give you a higher raise. So what can we do? All we can do is do what we know, to do what we can do, and do what we have authority over.
Very true. And you know how I never read the Bible, right? I mean, I think the last time I read was in July or something. And today morning, after my tea, I felt a sudden urge to go and pick my Bible. I mean, wow. And let me just read you what I saw. And mind you, I didn't change any pages. I opened it where the bookmark was already. It's Ecclesiastes 2. I cannot pronounce this chapter. Ecclesiastes, I don't know, sorry. Ecclesiastes, oh, got it. Ecclesiastes 2. It's Ecclesiastes 2, chapter 3, verses 9 to 14. What do we gain from all our work? I know the heavy burdens that God laid on us. He has set the right time for everything. He has given us a desire to know the future, but never gives us the satisfaction of fully understanding what He does. So, I realize that all we can do is to be happy and do the best we can while we are still alive. All of us should eat and drink and enjoy what we have worked for. It's God's gift. I know that everything God does lasts forever. You can't add anything to it or take anything away from it.
Ah, so good. Well, now that you heard it straight from God, that's all for today. Au revoir. Just kidding. We are big mouths, so we aren't leaving until we are done speaking.
Aye, aye, Captain.
So, just like Siona said before, the future is in front of us. It is hidden with a translucent cloak of mist. We can see a little bit, but not everything. But just by seeing a little, we build magna castles in the air. There's this story that comes to my mind, which I heard as a kid. There was this man in a village. He had bought a chicken, and a couple days later, the chicken gave an egg. Now the man thought to himself that he will sell the egg, get more chicken, and then sell those eggs and get more, and on, and what he will do with the money. But as he was walking back inside his house, he slipped and fell and broke the egg. And just like that, his fantasies vanished too. I guess the moral here is very evident. Don't count your chickens before the egg cracks.
Yes. Also, there are times when you just do things or randomly take part in some activity or course. At the time, you might not understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I feel that's one of the mysteries of our universe. If you already know the plot, what's the point in watching the movie?
It's impossible to know the reason to everything. There are some things we aren't supposed to know, and some things we are. Rather, there are many things we know. If we see it in this way, there is so much information and knowledge out there that our puny brains cannot fathom. So Miss Generous, the universe, helps us store just enough knowledge and information that you need for the present. What are you going to do by knowing your milkman's grocery list? Or are you really interested in how pencils are made? You have the right to know everything. But what is it that you need to know now? Are you utilizing that information to the fullest? It's like ordering another pizza when you haven't even finished the first one.
Well, there's always place for pizza. Life is funny that way and very unexpected. We wish for so much and things may not happen that way. Sometimes we wish for something and that happens. Life has gotta make its mind. You're too confusing for heaven's sake. But seriously, even the present moment must surely be for a reason. So for example, why do I wake up a certain morning and suddenly decide that I need to buy a violin? Or why do I wake up and decide that today I want to try something new? We go to the shop to buy bread and find your favorite candy from childhood and buy that. Your friend unexpectedly comes home that evening and you offer him the candy and you both have a conversation about how this was his favorite as a kid. We got to know something about our friend through this process. And the funny part is, we wouldn't get to know such details if we tried to force a conversation.
What has to happen happens when the time is right. I would like to read a few lines which will surely fit well here. There is a time for everything. There is a time for birth and a time for death, a time for planting and a time for pulling, time for sorrow, time for joy, time for mourning and a time for dancing, the time for finding and a time for losing, time for silence and time for talk, the time for tearing, the time for mending, the time for war and the time for peace.
We are confused as we should be. To get some control over this, what can we do? To know the why of the activity or course of action that you are taking at the moment. Consciously asking yourself, why do I need to do this right now? Does this fit into my present state of life or am I forcing it? This will help us gain a deeper sense of understanding and purpose. We might not know the larger purpose, but at least we know something, the reason why I am doing something now. As we gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah, and the best thing you can do is be present with whatever is happening. That's the key, my friend. The present is a present for a reason. If you're happy, celebrate. If you're sad, cry. And keep this in mind that life is abstract, never linear. One thing leads to another, and we start seeing meaning in things.
As we conclude, I want to read a few lines from the book of Shuangzi. Let your heart journey in simplicity. Be one with that which is beyond definition. Let things be what they are. Have no personal views. This is how everything under the heaven is ruled.
Okay, we had a very enriching conversation, and thank you so much for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week for our upcoming episode. Until then, this is me, Jennifer.
And I, Siona.
Mystic Dummies signing off.